Everybody, I think we'll make a start. So welcome to this webinar, which is about effective practice in the delivery of pre-apprenticeship programmes. My name is Nicola Aylward and I'm Head of Learning for Young People at Learning and Work Institute. We're delighted to have everybody with us today to launch a series of new resources that we've developed alongside providing insight into one of the fantastic programmes that we've been exploring through this project. Before we begin, just a couple of short housekeeping points to share with you. So firstly, if you could please ensure that your cameras are switched off and that your microphones are muted, that would be greatly appreciated. We have a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar, at which point I will invite people to ask questions. In addition, you're very welcome to post questions and comments as we go throughout the webinar. Finally, we are recording today's session and we'll be making it available on our website along with the slides. So it's great to have so many people here with us this afternoon. Could we please ask people, if they haven't already, just to type their names and their organisations and which country they're from into the chat box, please. So this webinar is part of a wider project that Learning and Work Institute is delivering, which is focused around identifying and promoting effective practice in the delivery of pre-apprenticeship programmes in different parts of the world. I'll provide some background and some context to the work in just a moment, but before I do so, I'd just like to hand over to Louisa De Simone from JP Morgan. Over to you, Louisa.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and thanks a lot to Nicola and Shona for the invite and for organizing this webinar. I'm very happy to be here today on behalf of JP Morgan. So here we are, it's 2021, it's a new year, yet we are still adapting to the global pandemic, perhaps a bit better equipped compared to last year to new ways of working, new ways of learning, new ways of living. So what we know based on the lesson learned from previous crises is that usually in the aftermath of a global crisis, young people are more likely to be affected by higher unemployment, higher inactivity rate, especially when we look at the most vulnerable amongst youth. So despite the health emergency is evolving at different paces in different countries, what we see is that the collective efforts to build a better future post-COVID have already started. So for instance, at the European level, the European Commission has launched different initiatives as part of the skills agenda, the Pact for Skills and the Youth Employment Support Package, all built around different strands of work to really provide a bridge for the next generation. They encompass different tools, such as the Youth Guarantee, the modernization of vocational education and training, and of course, a new impetus on apprenticeship to really leverage the opportunities linked to the green and the digital transitions. So in this context, I really believe that the program coordinated by the Learning and Work Institute with the support of JP Morgan offer very relevant tools in terms of good practice, evidence, peer learning opportunities that I trust will be valuable to all of us. Practitioners deliver pre-apprenticeship programs of similar schemes, funders, policymakers, companies, and all the stakeholders that are committed to support young people progression towards apprenticeship. As you may know, promoting economic inclusion and access to opportunities for young people is at the very core of JP Morgan's corporate responsibility commitment across 37 countries globally. As part of this mission, under the umbrella of our global initiative, New Skills at Work, in 2019, JP Morgan Chase has committed to invest $350 million globally over 5 years to really develop, test, and scale innovative efforts that prepare individuals with the skills they need to be successful in tomorrow's labor market. In light of the pandemic, we believe that even more strongly that by working together with a range of different stakeholders across countries, like today with the Learning and Work Institute, Fundação Yoship, other training providers, non-profit organizations, business alliances, we can really contribute to make apprenticeship programs more inclusive. We see strengthening the pre-apprenticeship schemes to prepare young people to access formal apprenticeships as a way to really achieve this goal. It is my hope and our hope, I believe, that the case studies and toolkits presented today will really provide actionable guidelines and good practice needed by practitioners to design more inclusive and effective bridge programs towards apprenticeship, particularly for the most vulnerable amongst youth. So once again, thank you to the Learning and Work Institute for the collaboration and for bringing all of us together virtually today. And I look forward to the conversation.
That's great. Thank you, Louisa. And as I said, we're really grateful to the support that we've received from JP Morgan for this project. In just a moment, we'll be hearing from my colleague Shauna, who will introduce the new resources that we're launching today. We'll then be hearing from Claudio and Max from the fantastic Formari pre-apprenticeship programme in Brazil. Before I hand over to Shauna, I just wanted to set the work in context a little. So we've been working with JP Morgan since 2018 to research and share best practice in the design and delivery of pre-apprenticeship programmes. So during the first stage of the work, we looked at programmes in different parts of Europe. We produced 6 case studies, a provider guide, and facilitated a range of knowledge exchange activities. But obviously, the context within which we're all living and working, as Louisa said, has changed a great deal since 2018. However, even before the pandemic, we know that too many young people struggled to make sustained transitions into the labour market. Many had poor experiences of school and were unable to complete basic education. Others struggled to gain work experience and to find secure employment. And sadly, data from across the world shows that young people have been particularly hard hit by the economic crisis that's been caused by the pandemic. So we've seen soaring levels of youth unemployment alongside disrupted education, which is effectively creating a generation of young people whose transitions into the labour market are significantly affected. And whilst the pandemic is clearly affecting the majority of young people in some way, as Louisa said, it's the most disadvantaged young people who are being disproportionately affected and pushed further away from apprenticeships and wider labour market opportunities. But we think this really reinforces the importance of effective, high quality and inclusive pre-apprenticeship programmes that provide opportunities for the most disadvantaged young people. The work that we've undertaken has shown that providers in different parts of the world deliver pre-apprenticeships in very different ways, in very creative ways. And we really hope that the resources that we're sharing today and the wider activities that we're undertaking through this project will make a real difference in levelling up opportunities for all young people to access apprenticeships. I'll be talking a little later about our programme of peer learning activity, but before we get to that, I'll hand over to my colleague Shauna, who's going to introduce our new resources to you. So over to you, Shauna.
Thank you, Nicola, and good afternoon or good morning to some of you. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's great to see and have so many of you here. My name's Shauna and I work as a researcher here at Learning and Work. So I'm going to start by providing you with an overview of L&W's bank of resources for pre-apprenticeship providers. So we have a really fantastic set of resources to support providers with the design and delivery of high quality programs that support young people to enter apprenticeships. So all of our resources are open access and available on our website. And this includes a full guide to the design and delivery of pre-apprenticeship programs, a guide to delivering blended learning, a guide for skills development on pre-apprenticeship programs, 11 international case studies of good practice, a series of case study videos and a report which brings together findings from research undertaken as part of this work. So our provider guide is a full guide to the design and delivery of pre-apprenticeship programs. It has been developed for organisations who want to improve particular aspects of their programs, or maybe for organisations who do not currently offer pre-apprenticeships but who wish to do so in the future. So the resource is divided into the following sections: designing a pre-apprenticeship programme, employer engagement, developing strong partnerships, recruitment and initial assessment of young people, delivering pre-apprenticeship programmes and evaluating your programme. So the resource is interactive and it's been designed so that you can navigate easily through the different stages of programme design and delivery. So it can be used as a step-by-step guide or you might prefer to select one or two sections of the resource relevant to your programme. And we also have a self-assessment tool located in the resource, which will help you to identify the strengths and weaknesses of your programme. So today we have published two brand new resources. The first is a guide to the design and delivery of blended learning programmes for young people. So many of you will have had to adapt to delivering your programmes online for young people during the coronavirus pandemic. And this has been a new experience for the majority of learning providers. And so this resource has been developed to support organisations to adapt to a blended learning approach. And it contains advice and guidance to support providers to learn from wider research and practice in delivering blended learning. So it contains practical advice and guidance on how to design a blended learning programme, choosing online tools and methods for blended learning. And it also contains tailored advice about delivering particular aspects of programmes, for example, literacy and numeracy, work placements, and employer engagement. And importantly, the resource contains key factors to consider and guidance about digital inclusion for young people, as well as top tips for keeping young people engaged in an online environment. So the second resource that we published today is a provider resource to skills development on pre-apprenticeship programmes. So we know that labour markets across the world are constantly changing, and young people increasingly need a wide range of skills in order to build sustainable and rewarding careers. So this resource has been developed to support providers to improve their programme to ensure that young people are equipped with the key skills they need for an apprenticeship and their future career. It includes advice and guidance on transversal and learn-to-learn skills, sometimes referred to as soft or transferable skills. It also contains guidance on basic skills of numeracy and literacy, digital skills and employability skills. So each section of the resource contains an overview of why this particular element is an important component of the programme, case study examples from effective programmes across the world, as well as key factors to consider when delivering this aspect of your programme. So the resources that we have developed are accompanied by a set of detailed case studies. These case studies illustrate the ways in which organisations deliver unique practice for groups of young people who are disadvantaged in the labour market. The case studies offer practical examples of how each organisation has designed their programme to meet the needs of young people. So that includes outreach and recruitment of young people from disadvantaged backgrounds, different models of design and delivery, partnership working to meet different needs of young people, as well as work placements and employer engagement. So we have worked very closely with 6 organisations this year who are delivering unique practice for groups of young people. And we have conducted virtual case study visits with each of these organisations, which included interviews with key stakeholders, delivery staff, employers and young people. So these international case studies really highlight how programmes are designed and delivered to meet the needs of young people with diverse backgrounds and experiences. So I've populated this table, which will showcase the range of country contexts and target groups. So for example, the Invest2 programme in Ireland targets young people from low-income households to enter apprenticeships in the IT sector. For Mari in Brazil, which you will hear from shortly, support young people from low-income households in the poorest areas of Brazil. Bright Light in London supports care leavers to enter apprenticeships, so young people who are leaving the care system. The Integration Pre-Apprenticeship in Switzerland is a national programme which supports refugees and asylum seekers to enter apprenticeships. And finally, the second Technology Opportunities School, delivered by La Rioja in Madrid, supports young people who are not in education, employment or training, as well as care leavers and refugees. So a huge thank you to each of those organisations for their valuable contributions to our knowledge of pre-apprenticeships and to the resources that we have developed. All of the resources are free and can be accessed on our pre-apprenticeships resource page. So please do access them. Let us know what you think and share them with organisations in your networks who you think could benefit from these. I'll stop there. Thank you very much.
That's great, Shauna, thank you. And as Shauna said, we really hope that you will access the resources and that they provide a valuable tool to you. They very much complement the first set of resources that we developed a couple of years ago, so they can be used together to really enable you to learn from different providers' approaches and to apply key messages around effective practice to your own programmes. So thank you, Shauna, that was great. I'm now particularly pleased to welcome Claudio, who runs the Formare programme in Brazil. Claudio is joined by Max, who is a graduate of Formare and is now living and working in the UK. So I'll hand over to you now, Claudio, if that's okay.
Thank you, Nicola. Thank you, Shauna, and thank you everyone for being here, for inviting me for this great opportunity to showcase our work in Brazil. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be presenting the program that we have developed in Brazil back in 1989, which is called Formare. We are a non-profit organization called Yoship Foundation. And starting with the presentation, as I said, we were founded in 1989. We are a nonprofit organization as part of the Yoship Group. Yoship Maxon is one of the largest auto parts industry in the world. And they produce structures and wheels in 34 different countries with offices in all the different continents. So in 1989, the company decided that they wanted to invest in education. And they created the foundation, and they have developed since then two different projects. One is related to art education, so teacher training in public schools all over Brazil, and these are the red dots that you can see spread out all over the country. And the other one is called Formare, which is an initial professional education project that we have developed in Brazil, and we have units all over Brazil, 2 units in Mexico, and we used to have units in Argentina as well. And we are looking forward to the opportunity to develop other units all over the world. So we're looking for partnerships to bring Formare to different countries. So what we did in the beginning was we were looking for the state-of-the-art program in terms of initial professional education. And the paradigm we found out in back in 89, was the dual system, the German dual system, where you have the technical side being delivered in a company and the theoretical side being delivered in a school. And we wanted to do something different. We wanted to break this paradigm and create a unique program that could relate to the student and all the students' needs, especially because we wanted to take care of very low-income students. So our target is low-income students coming from households which receives a maximum of 1 minimum wage per capita per month, which is, basically the basis of the social pyramid in Brazil. And we really wanted to change their lives, to transform their lives, and to make a difference in their lives when they leave school and they enter the job market. So this is a picture of one of our actual groups that graduated a couple of years ago. These are all young people coming out of school and entering the job market. And Formare is a program that promotes professional training for young people in situation of social vulnerability. And I have already defined social vulnerability to all of you. But we do this in a very different way. We do this through partnerships with companies. And we also engage their employees as volunteer educators. So we found out that if you want to teach them employability skills, there's no better professor than people that are already in the job market, people that are hired, people that have found their place in the job market. And so they have already those skills developed with them. So what we do is we have partnerships with companies, and we invite their employees to become volunteer educators. We train them. We have a very intense training program customized to employees of companies so that they can understand our methodology and they can deliver the methodology to students. So the first thing that we do when we find a company that wants to have a partnership with us is we create a diagnosis of the company. So we understand basically what skills they need right now, what skills they don't find in the job market, which skills they don't have inside, and how they see themselves in 20, 30, 40 years to come, where they want to be in the future. So we have a very deep analysis within the company. We have a pedagogical team that does this immersion in the company, and we create this diagnosis and we present this to the human resources personnel of the company. And we discuss with them a curriculum, and we customize the curriculum to every different company that we work with. So by doing this, we actually use the company itself as an element, as a pedagogical element to teach our kids the skills the company needs and they don't find in the market. So we believe that we have developed one of the best learning environments possible, because 100% of the classes happen inside the companies. The companies have a classroom that's dedicated to Formati, and the kids go to the company every day. They spend around 4 to 6 hours per day within the company during a year, and the training takes on average 900 hours. So we have some, depending on the company, we have trainings up to 1,200 hours, 1,600 hours. It really depends on the skills the company needs. So we believe that we've got an excellent learning environment. We also believe that we've got the most up-to-date educators in the market, because the educators, 100% of the professors that teach the kids are employees of the company that deliver classes during their work time. They usually, each one of the employees deliver around 1 to 2 hours per month. And we've got a minimum of 50 to 70 different volunteers to be working with us in this program. So they are very updated because they are in the job market. We offer the companies the possibility to offer face-to-face, online, or blended courses. With this, we've reached a very high employability index because we develop the skills that a company needs at the time. So we've got around 83% of employability index after the courses are finished. We also develop social inclusion, and we also promote business volunteering within the companies. Here are some of the numbers from our past 32 years of activities. We've got engaged at 44 different partner companies. We currently have 67 teaching units or schools spread out all over Brazil and Mexico. We've got international presence. We are present in 50 municipalities in Brazil. We have already developed over 140 different courses already. We have trained in this past 32 years almost 23,000 students. In 2020, last year, we have trained over 1,000 students. In 2020, we've also trained over 4,000 volunteer educators that year. This is our average. In some years, we develop a little bit more. And last year, we've got over 80% of employment rate after the end of the course. These are some of the companies that are together with us. And as you can see, we work in different segments, industrial and commercial segments. For instance, logistics, we've got DHL with us for a couple of years. At the beauty industry, we've got L'Oreal. The aerospace industry, we've got Embraer. We also got elevators with ThyssenKrupp. We've got paper and celluloses with Suzano. We've got auto parts. We've got cars, manufacturers like Volkswagen and so forth. And innovation companies like 3M, Cummins, and electricity like GE, and so many different areas. There's no problem with the different areas. We can work with any different segment of industry, commerce, and services. So how is the program divided? We've got 3 different bases, as we call it. We've got a very common basis, which is called basis related to development of life and work skills, or soft skills. These skills are common to any course that we develop, like basic mathematics, basic communication, working teams, and so forth. Then we have a second base of skills, which are skills related to specific needs of the company. So if we're talking about a company that works with services, and we have identified a different set of skills that are important to that particular company, we develop the pedagogical material, we train the volunteer educators, and we give them the materials for students and for the volunteers to develop alongside with the students. And by the end, we also have what we call integrated project, which is basically a project to solve a real problem of the company. So in the beginning of the course, the company chooses around 8 to 10 different problems to solve, real problems that they need to solve. They present these problems to the students. And the students, by the end of the course, they have to present to the board of directors, to the company, a solution that is feasible and applicable to the company to solve that particular program. And we also have the professional practice, around 300 hours to 400 hours per year of professional practice in different sectors of the company. So the beauty of this program is that the student leaves the project having the opportunity to implement a solution for that company and bring that to their own curriculum, and also with a network of professionals that can help that particular student throughout their life and work as a reference to this student, throughout their professional life, and they become friends. And these professionals, after the course, they also keep following the lives of the students after the course is done. This is an example of the certificate that we have developed. In every country that we work, we have a partnership with an university. So the certificate is issued by the university. In the case of Brazil, we have a partnership with the Technical University of the state of Paraná. And in case of Mexico, we have 2 other different universities that are partners with us. So the certificate is valid nationwide. And we now would like to introduce you to a new initiative that we are putting together. And for this initiative, we are looking for partners all over the world in 2 different sectors. We are looking for investment partners that could eventually help us put this together, and also partners with technology. We call this e-formati. With this upcoming outbreak of COVID last year, we had to transition our methodology from 100% face-to-face to 100% online. And for this, we have quickly put together a set of changes in our methodology, and we're now working to improve these changes and to create a new program that could happen 100% online or hybrid, in a hybrid environment. We've been calling this e-formati, and what we're doing at the moment is we have already identified a set of 180 different skills that are present in more than 100 research that we have been analyzed all over the world, and also through in-depth interviews with professionals from all different countries. And we've got this set of skills, very important skills, that the industry, the service, and the commerce wants to develop for the future. And we are putting together what we call the learning management, a new learning management system. The first step is to deliver a mentoring app that could help students put together their own life and work projects. Okay, they can develop this alongside with a mentor, or they can do this 100% by themselves. And by the end of 2021, what we want to launch in the market is an app, a completely new app, where students can develop up to 1,200 hours of skills that are important, including Industry 4.0 skills. So each company can pick up what we call a 3D curriculum. They can choose a curriculum according to their own needs, and students can follow their own path of training through this app. And we're also going to be working with what we call nano degrees. So each of this particular set of skills, they're going to be delivered through a maximum of 10-hour training. So this curriculum will be made of a lot of nano degrees of 10-hour trainings that can constitute up to 1,200 hours of training per student. And this way, we believe we can deliver something very up to date and something very related to the specific needs of the company, and with a curriculum that can change on a year by year basis. And if you want to join us in this project, please welcome. This is 100% free for students. We are going to be delivering a pilot in Brazil this year with the support of JP Morgan, and I would like to, thank JP Morgan for this first support. But we believe that we need to raise by the end of this year something around 500,000 pounds to put together this project and deliver for free to any student that will want to benefit in this project with us around the world. And I would like now to introduce you to Max Costa. Max Costa is a former alumnus of 2004. He used to be a senior process in engineering from Jaguar Land Rover, and he's been recently appointed global strategy buyer. He's based in Gaydon in the UK, the headquarters of Jaguar Land Rover in the UK. So welcome, Max, to our chat. And I would like to ask you 3 different questions. So you've got some time to answer to them. The first question is, how was your life before you joined Formati? Then, how was your life during Formati? And what changes have you felt in your own personal life, by being part of this program? And how was your life after you leave Formati? So thank you, Max, and I'm gonna leave you with the words. I think you're mute, Max. We cannot hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was talking to myself. So thanks, Claudio, and thanks Learn and Work Institute for this initiative. This is a really great initiative that we need for our young people. So before answer your question, Claudio, I would like to say how I have no words to tell how proud I am with where Formati is now. So I did the program 16 years ago, and I have no idea how big Formati is now and how more lives that really need Formati is achieving also. I'm really proud, and I have no words to explain how happy I am. And thanks for the opportunity to come here and share a little bit in a real example, real life, what Formati means to the poor young people in Brazil. So as Claudio explained before, the program is it's for young, for low income family, and of course I come from a really poor area in Brazil. It's a developing country. You need to be this in mind, and the situation for these young people in Brazil, it's really tough because and it already answered the first question from Claudio. How was my life before Formati? So it's basically living day by day. So people in this situation, and it was my particular situation. So I was just think what I need to do to have food in my table in the end of the day, what I need to do to have a salary that is possible to survive and not to have a quality of life. So I really didn't know what mean the word quality of life. And it's mainly because the example that you have around, there is a couple of studies in the world that say that you are the average of the 5 or 10 people that you live with. And it's the real world, it's the real situation. So that was my life before Formari. I have no belief on myself. I have no expectation at all to be anything or to achieve anything. It's just living day by day. And just to exemplify what I'm telling here, in the day of the Formari exam, the test that you need to do as part of the process to be in the Formari team. I have no money to pay for bus or for taxi or for any transportation to get in the Volkswagen site. So I have to cycle until the site to do the exam, to do the test. And it was, I went with one of my friends, and I'll never forget this day because it was one of the day that completely changed my life. And this will keep always with me. And then when I did the Formari, the course, it's I also tell to my friend, it's 1 year that look like 10 years in our life, because it's lot of news, it's lot of peoples that you start to be reference to you, and it's not only the technical skill that you get there, but it's much more. And I can for sure tell that the technical skills, it's not the more important in the formality, but is all the people that we'll be in touch with, all the examples in life that you get it. So during the formality, you have, it was one of the biggest change in my personality, in my person, because yes, I have a lot of technical skill learned during the course, but also the soft skills and the behaviors, and mainly the life example, because I look the volunteer there teaching minister the class, and come to my mind, I want to be like him. And mainly I start to believe in myself and say, okay, I can be engineering, I can do university, I can get there as well. And I learn as well how can I create my way, what I need to do to get there. Even I choose to be engineering, but other colleagues should be a doctor or administration. Everybody, you you build your future, and you know clear how you need to do to get there. And this is the rich part of Formari, and that's what I learn more with Formari. It's first believe myself, and second create a plan and look to the future and know exactly what I need to do to get there. And of course, the example and the person that living with me was the petrol to my engine, was the real example that I have in life. And of course, I advise all the time. It's really, we build a really good relation during Formati. It's not only the student and the volunteer, a student and teacher. It's really friends that we believe there, because it's a volunteer work, so you need to do with your open heart. And you find that just students that have a lot of dreams, and it's really open to create a new relation and friendship. And after Formari, I have a lot of merge with the program after I finished the program. First, because I was employed by Maxim, that one of the Yoship Foundation. And the indication for Maxim come from Formari, because I was there inside the Volkswagen module. And once I have entered in Maxim, I have the opportunity through Formari to start my university. And really, the salary that I have in this time was not was not enough to have paid my university. And I have a lot of funds help me from Yoship Foundation and from my program as well inside Volkswagen. And this allowed me to start my first dream, that is do my university, and mechanical engineering was my university that I did. And it only was possible because I did Formari, and I was in the right time, in the right moment. And the Formari and the Yoship Foundation really supported me on this journey as well with Maxon, through Maxon. And I have the opportunity as well to become a minister some class in Formari, in pneumatic class. So this was, I give back a little bit what Formari gave to me in the past. And for the life, I build a lot of great relation in Formari, where I have for the life until now. I have people that only not minister and volunteer that give me class, but during the stage and during the work in Formari, I have built a lot of friendship that I have daily or weekly contact. And when I go to Brazil, I stay in their home, I visit, and it still as reference to me, and still have my advisor or friends that I will be forever. And I can guarantee that today, as Claudio said, I have a great career in Jaguar Land Rover. I live in UK since 2017, and all this just happened because Formati gave me the opportunity to believe in myself and to build my future.
That's great. Claudio and Max, thank you so much. That was such an interesting presentation, and I think it really demonstrates how the Formari programme can really, I guess, empower and enable some of the most disadvantaged young people to overcome the challenges they face in what is clearly quite a precarious and insecure labour market. And Max, your insight, I think, just really highlights what a difference the programme can make to young people's lives. As you said, it gave you the ability to believe in yourself, to develop a plan, and to go on and secure a really good future for yourself. So thank you again for such an interesting presentation. Okay, we do have some time now for questions. So if anybody has any particular questions for Claudio or Max, would you like to post them into the chat box now? Okay, we're getting lots of comments. People are feeling very inspired by you, Max, and thank you for sharing your story.
It's my pleasure. I'm really proud that we can empower more programs like this around the world.
Absolutely, thank you. So we did have one question. Jeff was asking whether there are any particular tools to measure the impact of pre-apprenticeship programs. And at this end, we're aware of a toolkit that's been published by the What Works Centre for Local Economic Growth, and we can share a link to that tool after the webinar. But Claudio, I wondered if there's anything you'd like to say around how you measure the impact of the Formari programme.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicola. And thank you, Jeff, for this question. What we do basically in Brazil, and we hire a third-party company to talk to the former students from the past. They talk to the alumni, to the thousands of students that we have every 2 years, and they actually look for 3 different particular areas. They look for the income generated by former Formati students. They look into the educational side of the students, so whether they have kept developed, their educational history, and also whether they have followed the rule of keep studying all the time, of keep evolving, going to next steps, and so forth. So every 2 years we do this. We hire this third-party company. We think it's important that we don't do this ourselves. We have our own internal tools, but we hire this company to do this so that we can compare every 2 years.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Claudia. That's really helpful. Another comment for you, Max. Amazing inspiration for the new generation. So absolutely, thank you. Max, I was wondering if I could just conclude by asking you what your plans are for the future. As you say, there are so many opportunities for you. Is there anything else in particular that you aim to go on and achieve?
Yeah, so one thing that I learned to be in a positive way, it's ambition. And of course, I think the future, it's always have a next step to everybody. And I have a great progress career after Formari, and my plan is to keep developing myself, keep growing up uh, in the business where I am now.
That's great. Thank you, Max.
And Nicola, if I can support in any way the Learning Work Institute, please let me know. It will be my pleasure as well. As for Mari, Claudio, so here to help, and it's really my pleasure to give back what Formari gave me in the past.
Thank you, Max. That's fantastic, and I think we'll definitely be taking you up on that offer.
Thank you.
Great. Okay, so as we mentioned, Formari is one of 6 case studies that we've developed as this part of the work, which is now available on our website. Later this year, we will also be working with Claudio and the team to make a short film about their programme. So please look out for that too as time progresses. I don't think there are any further questions right now, so I'm going to move on to talk about the programme of peer learning activity, which we're going to be launching as part of the project. So the peer learning activity very much builds upon the ethos of the project, which is about sharing best practice and working collaboratively to develop pre-apprenticeship programmes that will really benefit young people. So the peer learning activity will be facilitated by Learning and Work Institute. It's an opportunity for providers from different parts of the world to come together to share their experiences, knowledge and different ways of working. So participants will be encouraged to reflect upon their own programmes, particularly what has worked well, what the challenges have been and how they have worked to overcome them. So the application process is now open for the peer learning activity. It's open to providers who are currently delivering pre-apprenticeship programmes, but also to other providers who may not be delivering pre-apprenticeships but are keen to set up new programmes. The application form can be found on our website, and a link will be sent to you after this webinar. It's a short form and we really want you to use it to tell us briefly about your programme and what you'd like to get out of taking part in the peer learning activity. And I guess we're really looking for a mix of providers, so perhaps some experienced providers who are delivering well-established programmes using tried and tested approaches, but also newer providers or providers who perhaps want to work with a different group of young people or to take a different approach to developing and delivering their programme. So the deadline for applications to take part in the peer learning activity is the 5th of March. After that point, the team here at L&W will review the applications and we'll get in touch with you to let you know if you've been successful. From this point forward, we'll then match providers into small working groups, and there are likely to be around 3 or 4 providers in each group. And each group will be allocated to a member of Learning Work Institute staff who will support and guide the peer learning activity. So the actual activities themselves will start in May with an online meeting of all participants. Providers will then be supported to develop an action plan for their programme. They'll then meet regularly in their small working groups, and providers will very much be matched and activities will be planned around what they hope to get out of it. So it will be a tailored programme of activity. All providers who take part will be offered £500 in recognition of their time and commitment to the programme. They'll also get the opportunity to take part in our wider knowledge exchange events, and we very much hope that one of those events will be able to take place face-to-face, either towards the end of this year or early in 2022. But I think the main benefit of taking part is really the opportunity to build new relationships with other pre-apprenticeship providers, to gain insights into different ways of delivering programmes, to learn from new approaches and ideas, and ultimately, I guess, to explore creative new ways of supporting young people through pre-apprenticeships. So as I said, the application form to take part is now live and available on our website, and a link will be sent out after this session. The closing date is the 5th of March, and I'm very happy to take any questions that you might have about the peer learning activity right now. Alternatively, if you'd like to give it some consideration and perhaps discuss it with a member of the Learning and Work Institute team, then please drop an email to the address which is shown on your screen now, and one of us will get in touch with you to talk about the opportunity. Okay. So did anybody have any further questions, either about the resources that we've developed, or any final questions for Claudio and Max, or any questions about the peer learning activity? Okay, so we've got lots of questions in the chat box, predictably. Thanking Claudio for his presentation, and particularly Max for sharing such an inspiring story. So I guess just to conclude now by thanking you all for joining us today. We hope you found the session useful. Again, please use the resources, please get in touch to share any feedback with us, and please also get in touch to talk to us about the peer learning activity, or download the application form from our website. So a big thank you once again to Shauna, Louisa, Claudio and Max for contributing. Thank you.
Really, thanks, Nicola. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.